everybody. Welcome to another week of Available Work. Our podcast is dedicated to giving Texans the skills and tools that they need to secure another week of available work. That's the title. So, again, with me here today is Bonnie Downs. And Bonnie, you brought a friend?
I did. Again, thank you for allowing me to come back. And I brought a friend, mentor, / boss, president of the Texas Economic Development Corporation, Aaron Demerson.
Aaron, thanks for being here, man. This is going to be fun.
Delighted to be here. I didn't know Bonnie had such a role here.
This is where I've been going. Yeah, every Tuesday, this to where I am.
We didn't tell you.
Now you know.
We're slowly recruiting her back over in some ways, but we're trying to do that with you too, Aaron. We want you back over.
Always a part of the team.
Everybody wants you back. And we got our Line 5 group over there. Our attorneys and some of our staff are hanging in the back, joining us with us today. So, Aaron, former commissioner, you've been such a role model to me and just a ton of people here in state government. When I was over at the Secretary of State's office, you carried wonderful relationships with groups, and you've been just a monument of people here. A monument in the economic development world, just kind of dating back. But please let the rest of Texas know who you are, where you come from, what you're doing, how you been.
Who am I? First of all, Commissioner, thank you for the opportunity. Aaron Demerson, President and CEO of the Texas Economic Development Corporation. Delighted to be here today. I love the title, Another Week of Available Work. I love the Line 5 group here, the best employment law attorneys in the nation, doing phenomenal work. But I have the privilege and pleasure of heading up the Economic Development Corporation. We're the fundraising arm of economic development here in the state. Work closely with Adriana Cruz and her team to make sure that Texas is showcased the best in the nation, and we want to make sure that the world knows that.
That's great. And again, Bonnie, thanks for the support from coming over here. So, but Aaron, I wanted to kind of start off because you kind of spearheaded the initiative for internships here while you were here. Could you talk about your experience with that?
This initiative, the Texas Interns Unite initiative, was one where, as a commissioner representing employers, we wanted to make sure that employers had access to a workforce that was out there. And when you keep hearing about the shortage of workforce, we can't find employees. What better way to grow your own? And basically, if you have an opportunity for an intern, a young person that's coming out of college or soon will be out of college, you're growing that pipeline of talent. And that was the mindset behind that, really providing employers with an opportunity to take away the labor shortage in a sense, but growing your own workforce to make sure that it's a win-win situation for the employer and a win-win situation for the student as well.
Bonnie, did you work an internship?
Actually, I did. I started as an intern at the Texas Veterans Commission, and my first project was to go and write an article on interns and filing for disability claims, and I actually volunteered to write that article, and they saw that initiative in me, and then they had a position come up, and I applied, and I was competing against 3 other people, but I got the job. So thank you to that internship at Texas Veterans Commission. It was my first career job, I always say. So
that's awesome. Yeah, same. I interned at the Texas General Land Office there at the field office in Corpus Christi, and I got them to like me enough to hire me for a couple years, and when I deployed, I always kind of say that I'm still trying to get back to that job because it had a lot of exciting stuff. We dealt with natural resources. We helped other agencies, oil spill prevention. But the General Land Office does a lot of great things, and we'll be possibly doing some stuff with them, hopefully here in later episodes on the podcast. But I want to just kind of address that as far as that initiative. Aaron, you'll be glad to know that we're obviously keeping that ball in the air, pushing the Texas Intern Unite program system, and we're going to be touring the state with more conferences to connect employers with interns and to give interns better idea about what to expect and how to capture that internship, because I think that's a very crucial moment in a young person's life to get an internship, and it's literally the foot in the door and it just does so much for the rest of their career.
Yeah,
So,
congratulations on that. I've seen the work that you guys are doing in that space, and so hats off. Congratulations.
thanks for your support on that. But going back, like I said, we're going to be talking a lot about the Texas economy. You want to tell us in what ways? We obviously know we love Texas, but in what ways is the Texas economy booming right now? What are you seeing? What kind of fun are you getting?
It's booming. The Texas economy is booming. Number one, we have the best Commissioner Representing Employers in the state of Texas, and so when you have folks like that put into position, we are able to take care of a lot of work. And so, Governor Abbott sets the stage. He's the leader here in our state, and basically takes a common sense approach to doing business. Basically, it's all hands on deck as it relates to doing business in Texas. We have the best business climate in the nation, number one in a lot of different ways. And we always say in Texas, it ain't bragging if it's true.
That's right.
The fact of the matter is that we're taking care of business, and we're seeing that in both our urban and our rural communities. I mean, folks are out recruiting businesses that are already here are staying in our state, but they do that because we have the best business climate, and we give an opportunity for those. If you have a business, you have to have employees, and so that's where the Texas Workforce Commission and the work that you guys are doing with the 28 local workforce boards makes all the difference in the world, because those employers at that point have a pipeline of talent. They have a workforce that puts them in a position to do business, and we are a pro-business state, not ashamed of that at all. And you were seeing the results of that day in and day out.
Yeah, is the Tech CDC, or do they operate as kind of the state's economic development, or is like a chamber of commerce type of thing? How does that?
So the Texas Economic Development Corporation, we're the fundraising arm. The boots on the ground at the state level is the governor's Economic Development and Tourism team. We have the best in the nation there with Adriana Cruz and her team doing a bang-up job. The Governor's Cup for how many years in a row? 21, 20
I think 20 years in a
Governor's Cup about 12 or 13 years, I believe.
20 total. I think it's 12th year in a row.
12th year in a row.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of hardware.
A lot of
hardware.
It's a lot of hardware.
A lot of hardware, a lot of hard work, but a dynamic team over there that's making a difference. And Texas becomes the envy of the state in that regard. But Adriana and her team, we get to work with them day in and day out, but we get to tell that Texas story. This is what we're doing in our state. This is why, and we've been very successful with it.
So are you working with local, like kind of the local partners and trying to, I guess, maybe recruit, or is that kind of the goal?
Yeah. So
help them recruit,
so the corporation basically is made up of a number of private sector individuals. You have your Samsungs, your Toyotas, your Frost Bank, a number of folks that belong to the corporation. Chevron just recently located their headquarters, moved it from California to the Woodlands here in Texas, and they're a member of the corporation as well. And those individuals are joining basically a rising tide lifts all boat mentality. If we're successful here in Texas, they're going to be successful as well.
And I'm kind of going to throw a devil's advocate question at you,
go for it.
Aaron. How do we remain number one? How do we remain on top of all these lists? I mean, the list goes on, and we continue to win year after year. And 5-10 years, how do we keep being number one?
Yeah, you can't take it for granted, and you really have to continue with that common sense approach. The governor says take a common sense approach to doing business, and we again appreciate the investment that's being made in our state. You have to market that as well. You can't be the best kept secret and no one knows about it. And so our goal is to get it out both domestically and internationally, and that allows for other folks to see it. We recently have been to India back in January, thanks to the Line 5 Jakku, giving me good insight in regards to what's happening over there. But that country that's doing some phenomenal work followed up with a trip to London, and then recently just came back from Asia, where we found ourselves in Taiwan. We have a state of Texas office in Taiwan now, followed by Korea and then Japan. Went to Nagoya to say thank you to the Toyota family, and then we went over to Tokyo to finish out that trip or what have you. But planting that flag both domestically and internationally allows us to stay competitively. Other states are out there doing the same thing or some of the same things, but we do it as only Texans can do it the Texas way.
So partnerships, businesses that foreign businesses that are doing, that have a footprint here in the state of Texas, y'all keep up those relationships by visiting there, trying to figure out what else can we provide as far as infrastructure. And again, that pipeline of workers is kind of where we step in.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. It's called foreign direct investment. And when you have companies, they have a decision and an opportunity to make a location decision in any other place in the state. So we don't take it for granted when they choose Texas. Experienced my first Diwali this past Sunday.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
governor's mansion where he welcomed individuals in. And the relationships that are there are pretty phenomenal because we're seeing the results of that that takes place in big, big ways for our state. And we're proud of that relationship that we have with a number of folks, both domestically and internationally. And again, the proof's in the pudding. We're seeing the results of it.
Yeah. Happy health and happiness to you and your family.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody out there. Let's talk about some of the best practices we have that we can talk about to employers, to how they can use your partnerships or anything to help build their business or become more engaged in the work that y'all
we're doing. We actually just recently hosted one of our investor summits, and thank you guys for being there for the investor summit. But we were talking about the future of artificial intelligence in Texas. That's something that's big.
Yeah.
That's something that folks need to know about. We talked about the future of the Texas CHIP Act and semiconductors in Texas. The governor says there are three things that we need to address: artificial intelligence, space, and semiconductors.
Yeah.
We need to be in that area. And so we have an opportunity to serve as a convener, to have discussions around all of those type of initiatives. If you're in business, if you're a company in Texas and you want to see Texas succeed or be more successful, joining the corporation is a way to do that. From that standpoint, we'll address workforce, we'll address economic development, we'll address education. All of those things make a difference.
Yeah. So we're looking more into the emerging workforce coming out of high school, college graduates that are engineers, but also just to support the broad skills that are needed in advanced manufacturing. You mentioned space. A lot of the grants and skills development funds, the JET grant that the Workforce Commission helps support, is directed to that, and I'm very excited about that. Obviously, our space commissioners that are really pulling a lot of resources together, supporting growth and expansion of infrastructure to support new businesses that are coming here that want to be a part of the space and aerospace. So any skills that are leading in the advanced manufacturing really lifts up a lot of different industries. Production, I mentioned space, construction. And that's what we're wanting to support. And by the way, those grants, the JET grant is Jobs and Education for Texas. It's one of my favorites. It's the one we get to go and visit. Personally, one of my favorites. We visit high schools that are supporting training welders, healthcare, stuff like this. And this provides actual equipment, current industry standard equipment to training facilities that are so students they can learn on what the industry is actually using. So that's a huge force for help in our workforce.
And Commissioner, on those JET grants, phenomenal programs.
Big checks.
It's a new equipment as well, and so imagine how we feel when we get a new shiny object.
That's right.
A new car, so those kids get to participate with that.
And most of the time, the money's already spent, and then we get to bring this big check, and that helps like announce that there's 78. A cohort of 78 students is about to go through this training. So when you see us with these big checks, these grants, like and subscribe or retweet them and just like get people's head wrapped around students that want to get into these careers and can start asking questions and figure out what classes they need to take to get into this program, because those kids are right out of the gate are certified and they're learning a literal career and skills. And
you guys are giving them brand new equipment to do it on.
Yeah. I always want to play with it. It's just good stuff to see shops and training facilities, and people are real proud of it. So we're proud to support that too.
Yeah, those are always my favorite trips, especially to the rural communities. And you're seeing these kids on this brand new equipment, and just the sky's the limit for them.
Hey, Aaron, what else is coming up on the pipeline that you can discuss? I know a lot of these are you have conversations, hundreds of conversations with businesses. Fortune 500 headquarters seems like they're just coming, establishing their headquarters in Texas like overnight. Just new ones are all the time. What are you looking to accomplish in the next year or 5 years?
So we have a legislative session coming up, and in Texas, we're real proud of the fact that when I talk about workforce, economic development, and education, I always say couple that with elected leadership who gets it, and we're well on our way. And so we have a session coming up. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that our employers are still in that position where there's a business-friendly climate here in Texas, so they continue to stay and come. But some of the challenges and opportunities that we have here in Texas center around energy. We don't want to be a victim of our own success.
Yeah.
in a sense. And so that's going to happen. And so new ways, alternative ways, we need to have those discussions to make sure that we're solid there. You look at water. That's another concern, or an opportunity. I like to address it that way. And so, but having the best and the brightest to think around those things is something that we're going to continue to do. And I think our rural communities, that's something that we, when you talk about infrastructure, and the like, we need to make sure that we're solid there. But the corporation will serve as a convener to make sure that we're having those type of conversations. We'll need your input there as well. And that's what propels Texas to that next level. We're in a position to not stay behind, not to be reactive, but to be proactive towards all those areas, and we're well on our way to success.
That's great. That's awesome.
I think back in the day, Aaron, you would say, a business was looking to move here. They would say, hey, do you have the workforce? Do you have the water? Do you have the energy? But now we have to prove that.
Oh, yeah. You're having to prove it out. I mean, you used to get away with, we have a big labor force. We have a well-educated labor force. We have water. We have plenty of space in terms of land mass and the like. Now you need to prove it out. You have to show what programs you have put in place to make sure that there is, in fact, a workforce. You need to make sure that you have an energy source to sustain that. And so if you don't, then you won't be in a position to recruit that company or keep that company. They'll go elsewhere.
Aaron, I know a lot of people have heard you mention the secret sauce. Can you go into that and what that means to a business and to the state of Texas?
I often talk about the secret sauce in Texas, or a part of the secret sauce in Texas is when you bring together the worlds of workforce, economic development, and education. Workforce, economic development, and education. If those folks are at the table, you're going to be well on your way. Couple that with elected leadership. You have to have that as well. And so imagine a community, we as a state, when those individuals are at the table and you have the elected leader, be it at the local level, the city level, county, or state, or federal, then we're well on our way. What I'm seeing with companies that are successful here in Texas, and we have a lot of them, they basically come to the table. They're part of the corporation. They're part of the community. They're part of the fabric of what Texas has to offer. And once they get involved, they're going to be pulling. They need a labor force. And so we have the 28 local workforce boards that are there. They're an employer. You and I, Commissioner, will be biased towards that side. But the Commissioner Representing Employers, you're there for them. It makes a lot of difference when I'm on the other side and I have an opportunity for a company coming in, but I can refer them to the Commissioner Representing Employers. They're going to be there for you in that regard. And then I get to brag on your staff in a sense where you have for some of the best employment law attorneys on board as well. But finding companies coming in, taking advantage of the services and the programs that are offered at the state level, taking advantage of what we're offering as a corporation, our relationship with Adriana Cruz and that Economic Development and Tourism team, it positions companies to take care of business. The Teslas, the Toyotas, the Samsungs, the Tatas, TCS, and the like. They're all a part of everything that we're doing, and they're playing a role in our space. Texas Capital Bank and some of the forums that they put on and the like. And I could go on and on and on with a number of employers that are interested and invested in the local community. They're interested and invested at the state level as well, and that's how we're able to move forward.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up. And what I really encourage employers, if you want traction where the rubber meets the road, I encourage employers to get involved in that workforce development system and get involved in the secret sauce when it comes to keeping our economic and our markets, where we're at here in the state of Texas. And by doing that, there's boards of commissions. Employers serve on the workforce development boards, in general. But outside of that, there's always opportunities for employers to have a role with the training, with community colleges that need direction. So advisory boards for departments are usually filled with the industries, with employers from the industry, folks that have 30 years of experience are advising local community colleges in the direction for their departments and making sure that they're thinking outside of their own little departments. And so employers, again, that reach out to your local workforce solution boards. Reach out to your community colleges, TSTC. All those are great opportunities to get involved and to contribute your time. Employers, I know your time is valuable. This is a way that you're able to make sure that there's a continuing workforce that are supporting your industry. So that's my hit.
And Commissioner, what you're explaining is you mentioned workforce and economic development and the education components. That those are all a part of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
In August, we had an event, and the theme was "The Future is Texas." Looking forward into 2025, Aaron, what does that mean to you when you hear the phrase "The future is Texas"?
Well, the future is Texas, and so it goes back to partnerships and opportunities, even being here on the podcast. And so, Commissioner, thank you once again for this opportunity. But the ability for us to partner with each other. The future is Texas. We don't get there without partnerships, relationships that allow us to operate at the speed of light. You know, the governor has a laser-like focus on what's next, and so we need to make sure that we're part of it. When I talk about space, when we talk about semiconductors, when we talk about artificial intelligence, those are things of the future. And so Texas wants to lead. We're already leading in those areas, and we want to continue to do that. We get there through relationships, the convening of individuals, the best minds, the best thoughts, the best action that allows us to either leapfrog and or lead to make sure that we're making a difference in the world. And that's where we are here in Texas, taking it to that level.
That's awesome. Aaron, thank you so much for coming over here. We always love seeing you here, but this is like, we're very excited that we're able to do stuff like this together.
I'm excited about the growth and what you guys are doing, and another week of available work. Congratulations, Commissioner, on this podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely where we're headed. So we appreciate you for all your support. This is fun, y'all. Thanks everybody for listening. Again, more episodes to come, and hope you guys are having a great week.
Bonnie, we want you back.
I'll be back.